Welcome to Kara's Cures, where we explore the leading edge of wellness. We all want our kids to grow up happy and be successful. So what is the one thing they really need more than anything to do that? Child psychologist Laura Saunders from Dr. Laura Saunders from the Institute of Living is here. Welcome, doctor.
Thank you for having me, Kara.
So this is sort of encouraging maybe for parents if you say, hey, there's one thing, all these studies, and it's something that can be taught. What is that one thing?
Right. So Carol Dweck out at Stanford has done a lot of research on this topic. And here's the thing. It's not intelligence. It's not social IQ. It's not physical good looks. It's not socioeconomic status. The one thing that helps a child be successful is grit, right? And grit is part of like a growth mindset. Now, grit is defined as passion and perseverance about long-term goals. So it's about building stamina and resilience. It's helping our kids realize that they need to work hard to grow and to expand their mind. The big part of growth mindset and grit is failure experiences. You need to have failure experiences in order to learn from them. If things come easy, if you don't have those failure experiences, it doesn't promote the same kind of growth.
So as parents, we just need to help our kids fail, normalize that struggle is part of the game.
Yeah, and that's always a tricky balance because I think as parents, we struggle with allowing our children to fail, right?
Right.
And I'm not saying don't have a safety net because that's not realistic either, but allowing them some sense of control over their environment, allowing them to make some decisions, allowing them to experience mistakes and failure really leads to that sense of kind of self-efficacy and builds their self-confidence. Self-confidence is the confidence in your skills and abilities, right? It's not just like this sort of, I say, amorphous like self-esteem. Oh, I feel good about myself, right? That's really, really hard to kind of define. But self-confidence is something that you can build on. And the way that you build on it is by trying things. Sometimes you're okay at it, sometimes you're not okay, but really building in that growth mindset and building in the expectation that struggle is a part of it.
Yeah, so you talk a lot about praising effort, not just results. But let's talk about school. That started recently. And if your kids are maybe not doing so well, you're seeing some bad grades, is this an opportunity to define grit, or do we get in there like so many times we do and say, that's it, you're grounded, we're going to watch you do your homework?
So one of the things that psychologist Carol Dweck talks about is embracing the word yet, Y-E-T, right? So instead of just saying like, I'm not a math person. Well, you're not a math person yet. So it's that forward thinking. I don't know that throwing lots of consequences at kids for grades is in consequences, positive or negative, is really how we should be focused. I do think that, okay, you did poorly on this test, poorly on this quiz, you didn't do so well in this area. Now what are you going to do? Right? So it's not just throwing the consequence at them. It's let's go into problem solving mode. And obviously younger kids need a little more support with problem solving than older kids because they want to do a little more of it on their own. So it's a mindset. And right, that's why I keep saying growth mindset, because the flip side of a growth mindset is a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is great effort. You tried as hard as you could. It's over.
Yeah, or right? Like you just said, I'm not a math person. I'll never be good at math. Like I wasn't born that way. Or right. So, but you said failure is something, it's a belief we can teach, that it's not a permanent condition. It's a temporary state. I love the story of the woman who built the Spanx company. She said her parents used to ask her every night at dinner, what did you fail at today? Instead of like, tell me the best thing that happened. It was like she grew up with, what did you fail at today? So she didn't think it was anything weird when she was failing a bunch of times before Spanx became Spanx.
Right. And that is truly a growth mindset. There was a sign that hung at my daughter's dance studio for years that said, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, right? Someone might be talented in an area, physically gifted in an area, emotionally gifted in an area, but if you don't put in the hard work, if you don't put in the effort, if you don't expect that you're going to have a hard time and then struggle and then get through it, you will not achieve. So that's why it's not like you're just super smart and you get everything right. It's a growth mindset. It's that grit. It's that passion. It's that perseverance for long-term goals. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah, and I love that. And I know our kids went to the same dance studio or go to the same, so that's a great message. Thank you, Mary Ellen, who's a wonderful teacher. So it's really about belief. And what I think is positive about this is there are practical things parents can start doing. It has nothing to do with what's in your bank account or could you send them to the best school or I'm not going to be able to keep up with the Joneses. These are really things that don't cost any money that you could start doing right now to foster a growth mindset in your own home.
It's an attitude shift, right? As we said, we're not throwing consequences at like a bad grade or something difficult or trying soccer and struggling with how to kick or dribble the ball or, trying a new, joining the chess club and really having difficulty learning the rules of chess. It's about a growth mindset. And so it's in schools and it's at home as well. It's not just, you're a great person, you're beautiful, you can do anything. Those are way too vague. It's too easy for kids to reject those kind of comments or statements. We want to be very specific about how we offer praise and compliments. You offer praise and compliments about effort. I saw you try hard when you were working that drill in soccer practice. I saw you really stick with it when you had difficulty with that, reading passage in school, right? So it's giving praise about specific efforts, not just open-ended, you're beautiful, you're great, you're the best, because that really is just A, too easy to reject, and B, is actually kind of meaningless. So we're really working hard to promote this mindset.
Right. And back to the school example, we often hear now that, I don't know, I used to be, oh, you're so smart. And you would say, that's not really what we want to say. We want to say, look, I really like how you studied for that test, that's actually more important to praise that effort, even if the result didn't come out. Because if they don't do well, then they just go, oh, I guess I'm dumb.
Right. And so, because you can't reject that praise. I saw you study for 30 minutes for that test, right? Well, no, I didn't. No, I saw you study. I understand that you still struggled, but we're going to work out a strategy in how to deal with that or how to manage that or how to problem solve. So it's just that forward thinking, right? So it's the power of yet as opposed to the tyranny of now, as Carol Dweck would say. It's just like, well, this is what happened. Oh, well. Right. That's like, I'm just giving up in the moment. Well, not yet. Right. We still have things that we can learn, still have things that we can try, still have effort to put forth, still trying to put forth our passion and develop our perseverance.
You said we should encourage challenges and actually portray them as fun and exciting. So how do you do that if your kid is sitting there saying, this stinks, I can't, I don't know, like, what do we do as parents?
I try to break things down into very small tasks. While it might seem that the overall being a great soccer player, being a great volleyball player, or being a great field hockey player, whatever your sport is, or whatever, being a great chess player, that's too lofty of a goal. You want to think forward, but it's breaking things down into pieces. Okay, what's one rule you can learn about chess today? What's one thing what's one new word you can learn in your reading passage today? So breaking things down into smaller pieces makes it more emotionally manageable, as opposed to looking at yourself as the chess grandmaster, right? Let's break things down into small pieces so it's more manageable, but keep it in a mindset of challenges are expected.
Yeah. So that's one thing that you said you just really need to do, is that we want to let people know that this is normal. Let your kids know it's normal. So often they think, well, if it didn't happen, really, it took too much work, it's not worth it. We need to normalize that actually good things and things that are worth it take work.
Struggle is expected. Some amount of failure, some amount of mistakes are expected. It's part of the experience. In the mental health world, we always say recovery is not linear. You don't, setbacks and are part of the recovery process, no matter what your issue is. So we have to normalize those struggles. We have to normalize those setbacks. We have to normalize those failure experiences, because that's how we learn best.
So the social emotional part is big for kids right now. Let's say they're coming home, they're stressed, they're anxious. There could be friend drama going on. That happens a lot with teens, and they're melting down. How would you apply teaching them some emotional resilience or growth mindset when it's more of an emotional issue, not a skills thing?
Well, it takes two parts to that, right? I don't want to just minimize, oh, that friend drama will go away, because that's invalidating, right? I want to validate it really is hard in socially and emotionally, elementary school, but definitely middle school and high school. A lot of that drama and those social expectations that are ever changing, the role of social media, it's really difficult, right? There's a lot of chips and dings and bangs at your kind of self-worth. Young people do lots of comparison to each other, and which always makes them feel inadequate. So it's validating. Yes, it's hard. Yes, I hear that, so-and-so didn't invite you to this event. However, what are you going to do about it, right? It's that growth mindset. What are you going to do about it? Is there someone that you can invite to the next event? Can you take some sense of control over this? So it's validating that these experiences are difficult. We don't want to just say, get over it. But we want to validate, but we want to then go into problem solving. What can you do to take a step to feel a sense of control? I do think parents can also say, is there something that I can be doing to support you? Not fix it, right? I don't want to fix it for them. I mean, that's the inclination. Parents want to be fixers. That's why we're in this role. But really trying hard not to fix it for them, allow them to fix it, but be there to provide support and or valid, direct encouragement.
Yeah, no, I love that, because it is, I think we go into, we know exactly how to fix something. So we tell them, let's just do this. Come on, I'm going to make you do this. Watch, you're going to see it works. That's sort of the wrong thing.
Right,
we need
to. We have life experience, right? That's what adolescence lacks. Adolescents and young adults lack perspective, right? That perspective comes from failure experiences. It comes from, struggles. That perspective that we have as adults, if we're hopefully self-reflective adults, comes from those failure experiences. So we, I do it too. Like, can I just fix this for you? And then it's stepping back saying, is there something I can do to help you? Let me know. I have a belief that you can take a step to solve this yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely something I think that schools are starting to, you were hearing this a lot about growth mindset, and kids are starting to at least know that terminology, which is amazing, because that's something that we now know is the most important thing. That's what we're talking about. The science that has shown that if you could pick one thing that's going to lead to success, it's the growth mindset. Let me ask you this. Is it at all, some kids are more apt to just be that way, and others are not, and it's a learned thing? Is it a personality that you have a growth mindset, or really growth mindset is about teaching and growing?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. Yes. Do some kids have a certain temperament? Are there certain family environments and school environments that really promote that building of grit and that growth mindset? Of course. The kids with a more easygoing temperament more easily fall into like, okay, well, I didn't do so well at this, so now I'll try this. Yes. But what we're saying is, and what the research is really showing, is that this is a learned skill. So just because you don't have it doesn't mean all is lost. It means that it's a learned skill, and that if we, as the adults supporting our children, change our mindset, it can help them as well.
And it's modeling, right? That helps. So if we have a struggle in our own life, showing them that we are struggling. I think sometimes as parents, we don't want our kids out. We're going to handle it. We don't really show them anything that's difficult. But how would you model this so that they can see this is normal?
So that's a beautiful point, right? I mean, sometimes we get in the habit of like grilling our kids, like, what'd you do today? How was school? What'd you learn? But sometimes the most powerful thing to say is, boy, I had a difficult day at work today. I tried something and it didn't work all day. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to try it differently. This is how I'm going to do it differently, right? And that's talking things through out loud, but you're modeling, right? You're modeling that I'm not giving up. I'm not quitting. I'm not saying at the end of every workday, I'm quitting today, right? Because that just says to your kids that that's what they can do too. Now, I'm not saying we don't feel that way sometimes, but we keep those thoughts in our head or share them with our partner.
Or I'm feeling like quitting, but I'm not going to do that. I know is I need to do. Yeah.
Because tomorrow's a new day, and I had this other thought about how to fix this issue, or I had this other thought about how to get along with this person better, and I'm going to try that again tomorrow. So there's huge power in modeling and sort of talking things out loud. So it's sharing, well, I tried this, it didn't work. So you're really kind of modeling that for your kids, whether that's at dinner, I think driving is actually the best time to talk about that stuff because they're captive and they can't go anywhere. So talking about some of that stuff in the car is a great time to do it.
I do like to listen, although sometimes they want to get on their phones so much in the car. I tell them no phones, but they don't always listen.
Right, but you'd be surprised, if you said, did you want to get ice cream? All of a sudden their hearing turns on.
Yes, selective hearing. So in closing, if this is going to come up and we can practice this. So if you want a conversation, maybe some pointers, you're sitting down and you want to start doing this growth mindset, something to keep in mind, a phrase that you want to have in your back pocket. Maybe you want to write it down so that you're going to start practicing this at home. What's a couple phrases we want to stick in our back pocket as we practice the growth mindset with our kids?
Normalize struggle, set goals, small attainable goals, praise effort, and believe in the power of yet.
Yet, right. That's a good one right there. Just remember, not yet. When they're complaining, I can't. Not yet. All right.
Not yet, but I believe you'll do it.
Dr. Laura Saunders from the Institute of Living, thank you so much for being here. You always are full of wisdom. We appreciate it.
Take care, Kara.
And please share this episode with someone who can benefit. You can take this episode on the go with you in the Kara's Cures podcast. You can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow me at Kara Sundlin on social media, and you won't miss an episode. And thanks for joining Kara's Cures. It's where we explore the leading edge of wellness.